Hello and welcome to the webinar. My name is Justin. I work for Weebly in our Scottsdale office as an advanced technical rep. I do a lot of troubleshooting. I get to make internal documentation and videos and do trainings, and the best part of my job is being able to spend an hour or two a week with you, our users, going over how to use various parts of our product. Today, the webinar that we are doing is for Promote and how to get started using our Promote tool. We will be going over some very basics, how the editor works in Promote, similarities with what you already know from how your Weebly website works. I'm also going to try to get into a few of the little more advanced things and really show how to use Promote in a way in conjunction with your website to really build a very strong program when it comes to marketing to your visitors to your site, people that have bought from you, and all of the rest. So what you're looking at now is my dashboard, just in my webinar account here. If we look here at the top, we see sites, domains, Google Apps, and Promote. And so we're going to get started by clicking on Promote. And this will take us into a different app, the Promote app, where we will start our email marketing campaign. On this front page here, we see that there's a 7-day overview for one of my sites. The site this is for is determined by what I choose in this drop down here. So you can see that I have a list of different sites here. And what we will do is we will choose one that we want to send the email for. And I'll explain how these interact a little bit differently a little bit later and kind of show you how this works. So we're going to go with this Art of Ashtanga site, the artofashtangayoga.weebly.com. So we see a 7-day overview. I haven't sent any emails. Right here I see I can click Compose Email. Once I send my first one, this will no longer be here. But right now, because I haven't sent one, I can click here to get started. Or where you will usually go is here in the top right, we will click on Compose. And we are going to get right into building our first email. One of the things that Weebly really likes to do is help you through this with a series of steps. You'll notice this when you're building your Weebly site, and you'll definitely notice it here in Promote. So we want to give you a great starting point. Sometimes building the content and laying it out is the daunting part. You already have the pictures and you have the text and you know what you want to say. You just don't know how you want to put it together. So we've started you with some general categories. So just a general email blast. And if we click on this, we can see that there are different options. You can start with a completely blank slate, or you can start with something that's a bit pre-made. So we got one column, looks like an image, a title, some text, and a button. 2 columns, image, and we got a couple columns with titles, text, and buttons. Photo-based, if we are going to be showing off an event or something like that. Text-based, where we're not having any images. Commerce. So if we are going to integrate our web store with our email tool, we can put products in the emails and send these out for specials and certain deals. So different layouts for that. Newsletter, just a quick newsletter, some text, titles, buttons. Professional update, very clean, not a lot of fancy stuff going on. Picture newsletters, just laid out a little bit differently, and you get the idea. As we go through these, we can see, a good layout for a concert, a store opening, fundraiser, even a webinar. So you can go through and take a look at these different ones, and you can choose one to get started. Or you can just start with the blank template. So what we're going to do is we're going to be building a newsletter for kind of an update the schedule coming out on the next week of my Ashtanga website. So if we go to event, let's say we'll go with networking. I think I like the way this looks. I can have a couple of pictures at the bottom. Let's just choose that, and then we'll click on continue. And here we find ourselves in the Promote Builder, very similar to your Weebly site editor. We notice on the left-hand side we have Build and Design. Under Build, we see all of our elements: text, title, image, gallery. I can integrate products, use dividers and spacers, even build in a bit of navigation. I can put a map on here. You will also notice that certain things are missing. You can't put a video in an email. You're not going to be able to put our audio element on here. So you'll have to take a look and see what the options are, and then you can begin building. The Design tab, we can change the overall color. So this is very simple, white. I can go to a blue. We see that the button color changed. Also, the defaults for things like links will change based on that color. I can change the fonts. We have some really well behaving, as far as email goes, font pairings for you to choose from. I would definitely suggest kind of staying inside the box when it comes to font. You want something that is going to be legible, it's going to look professional, and I would always choose one of these options. So we'll just go simple with Helvetica. Obviously, I can change that here for the headline. I can do the same thing for title and subtitle. But again, if it were me, I would keep with these suggested pairings that we have here. All right, so we're going to go with this. And just like with your Weebly site, we can go through, and if we don't like the way that the text is, we want to change the size of it, we can play with all of those options. So if we go back to the build, get our elements back up here, and we can start playing around with our newsletter. So we have a logo element, which is actually slightly different than a normal image element. These two are image elements down here. You can see it looks identical to the Weebly editor. But if we click on the logo element, it comes pre-populated with this. We're going to want to replace the image. If you don't have a logo, you could always just use a picture or something that you want to represent your brand here at the top of your email, or you can always simply delete this element. Now, if I wanted to bring the logo element back, I can just drag it back onto the page, that easy. So we click on here and I can drag the photo in, or I can upload from my computer. I'm going to drag it in and drop it here. So we see that my logo is sitting here at the top. If I click on it, see that I can resize it, make it a bit bigger, make it small. I want it to take up all that space, so we're going to leave it like that. Then I can change this text here for the title. August events. Come in here. I'm not going to type this out because you are not here to watch me type. I'm going to paste some stuff in. All right, here we go. So you can tell that this text was formatted. I actually had it in a Word doc. A best practice is going to be to, if you are on a Mac, do Command A and select all the text. If you're on a PC, you're going to use Control A, select all of the text, and then we're going to want to remove the formatting on this. And then I can format it however I would like. So if I want, it's all bold right now, so let's make it not bold. It actually looks like it's not responding well. I think I've pasted some code in here. Let me just clean that up real quick. All right, so this is the way that I want my text to show up when I paste it in. I want to have to reformat it because then I'll have full control. So we're going to separate these things out. So in here, I kind of have a list going on. Regular hours will resume tomorrow. That's important. We'll put that in bold. We can put these as a bulleted list, kind of organize it a little bit. And this one, kind of important. There's not going to be practice, so we'll highlight it with an italic and make it bold. Bring it out a little bit. In this text, I'm referencing people who are a part of the program. I can actually link this, so if they have their own websites or a Facebook page, I can highlight the text, click on link, and then I can go to a website URL and we can have it linked to facebook.com/Scott. And then we can see that's linked. And so if I don't like the color of the link, I can always go back to design, change colors, choose something a little bit different if I wanted. So let's say we wanted to add some different elements on here. I've got these two images down here. I can go ahead and click on this, replace the image, I can drag a photo in, click on the other one, and we can replace it with a different photo. With these photos, I can change some of the ways they behave. I can link it to something if I wanted to. I could change the spacing. All of these options are the same as your default Weebly editor. In addition, I can add alt text, which is always something that's helpful to do. You want to click on alt text, and we'll want to rename the picture something that is a descriptive phrase for the picture. So Ashtanga primary series, and we'll click back. If I wanted to add an additional gallery here at the bottom, go ahead and we can do that. Go in and grab some other pictures. Whoops. And I can change the options of the gallery. Make it only 2 columns since I only have the 2 pictures, even though that one is the same, but we won't worry about that right now. I can change the cropping. So again, a lot of the similar options that you've seen on your Weebly site. So what is the purpose of this email? Well, I'm going to be sending it out to everybody who's a part of my community. Ultimately, what I would like is for people to know the new times that we have, special days off that we have. But in every email that I send, I'm going to ultimately want the person reading it to take some sort of action. I'm sending it to you so that you do something in particular. And that's really what this button is for. So there's a few different things that you can do with this. In this case, what I have is a class that I'm promoting, right? I'm promoting a lead primary. So I can have this link to all events on a calendar. Let's say that I have a calendar on my site. So I can click on View All Events, the button, click on Link, and here we see I can link to another URL, or I can link to something within this website. So let's take a step back. One thing that I want to do is I want to save this draft. We can see that it auto-saved at 114. I can back out of it. I can call this draft whatever I would like. So we'll call this August event email and then save and close. So when I chose this site from this dropdown, I basically have integrated the information from this site into this email draft that I have started. So if I click on the drafts, I can get back into the email. But what I want to point out is that the reason that when I clicked on that button to link it to something, that it knew the pages of my site were because of what I chose on that dropdown. So this means that for each of your Weebly sites, you can have different campaigns within your single promote account for all of your sites. So this way you can get promote and promote all of the sites that you have on Weebly, and you don't need to do anything different other than change the site on that dropdown. So we'll go ahead and link it to a standard page. We'll link it to the blog page. So now it'll link there. What if I also wanted to just reduce the barrier here and allow somebody to sign up for this lead primary class right from the email? So we'll do this, press tab to get the smaller button, and sign up today. We highlight this and we will link it. I can link it to a product page, and we have lead primary series product, and we can click off. So now somebody can click this, be sent to the page of my website where they can sign up for this particular class. If they choose not to do that and they make their way down the email, eventually they can see all of the events. So for now, this is a pretty good start to this email. Let's move forward to the next step. So we will click continue, and you can see that we are now on the email information part of our process. So the email subject line. The subject line should be short and snappy. It should avoid kind of spammy words like % off or help, buy, money, dollar signs. You want this, you don't want people to see it and kind of be put off by it. You want them to see it and be very interested in the content that they're going to find within the email. So we'll say yogis and yoginis. Check out our August schedule. Next, we have sender information. So we need to create a sender profile. What does this mean? So if we hover our mouse over this information block, which I can't get to come up now, there should be another one inside here. So we need to add information here that's going to actually show at the bottom of the email. A lot of this is required by law, as sending out emails, you don't want to spam people, and going through these steps is going to help prevent your emails from being blocked by different providers. And that's going to be a big part of this too, is you want to make sure that your emails get to the people who you are emailing. So sender email, it must be verified in order to send the email. So we're going to use weeblyjustin@gmail.com. Sender name, the name is going to show up on there. So I just want it to be Phoenix Ashtanga. We'll call it Art. Physical address, say 560 Road in Scottsdale, Arizona, 5251 in the United States. So we can see how it's going to look at the bottom of our email. And then we click on Add. So my sender profile has been added. I need to check my inbox and verify the email addresses. All right. So I've been sent a verification that I actually own this address. So really quickly, I'm going to go in and accept this, kind of behind the scenes here. Now, as I'm doing this, feel free at any point in time during the rest of this presentation or after to ask any questions that you have about Promote. There will be a Q&A after the webinar where I will be answering all the questions that you have for as long as you have questions. With the goal of getting you the absolute best start possible for your email marketing. All right, so you can see here, this window here. So I got an email from Weebly. Please verify your email address. It came right into my inbox. I already got it. Verify my email. Email verified. Perfect. And we can see that it already changed here. It's verified and we are good to go to the next step. So we will click continue. So quick and easy. Add recipients. So who am I going to send this to? I do not have anybody added into my list of contacts in Promote. I haven't done this before in this account, so I kind of need to start from scratch. So we can start by just typing in email addresses. I'm using the tab key to set these email addresses. I'm just going to send it to these two. You can add as many as you would like. Additionally, we could import if we had a CSV file. If you're not sure how the CSV should look, you can download our example CSV, and then basically you can just change around the information. So, excuse me, if we open this real quick. Can you see this on your screen? Yeah. All right, so the sample CSV, we have email address, first name, last name, but we could add other fields as well. We could have phone number, or if we had their address, or really whatever information. The nice thing about this CSV upload is that it's very dynamic in the way that our system will handle it. So let's say that this is what I'm going to use. Let's say I'm just going to re-upload the sample and I can show you how this works. So if we go back to my Promote, we're going to choose a file and I'm just going to re-upload the sample. And so here we can see that our software recognizes the columns in the file. Now if I had 32 columns and they all had headers, all of those would show up here. So I could see phone number, second email address, zip code, whatever was part of that form. So it recognizes the columns, and then under contact details, I can choose what in Promote I want this to actually be associated with. So just because the column heading is first name, we're not going to make the assumption that that's actually for the first name. You're going to have to select it. So first name. And for last name, we'll select last name. Email address, obviously we'll select email. Now the reason it's like this is that this field might just be called F, right? And this one might just be called L. And this one might say electronic mail or whatever. We wanted to make it very easy to import no matter what the column headings are. So we have set it up in this way, and it is extremely easy to use. So we have chosen what these fields actually mean, and now we will click Import. Click Continue to move forward to the next step. And at this point, I can add a group. So I don't have any, so we'll have to create a new ones. The title of what I uploaded was sample, so the system is automatically using that. Let's call it sample CSV upload group, and click save. So now we see that we have a group, and we'll add these to the group. One important thing to keep in mind is that people who you are going to email really should have already told you that they would like an email from you. That is what's called opting in. One of the things that will happen if you just send an email to 1,000 people that don't even know who you are, you bought their emails from somebody, they're going to mark it as spam, and then your emails to people who actually want your emails will start to get blocked. So it's important to be very honest with yourself and who you are sending these emails to. You want them to be people that have signed up through your contact forms, or who have signed up in your shop, right? People who you've collected your email address and already have told them that by collecting your email address, you might receive an email from me. So I agree. I've done that, and my file import was successful, and they'll appear shortly. So what we see here is that I've actually added the group. It doesn't show the individual names. So if I were to delete this, I see that here now there is a group of members that I can add to this. I've uploaded this as part of my contacts, and we'll see what that looks like in just a minute. So I've added all the recipients that I want. I'm actually going to not send it to these random email addresses, and we're going to move forward. Now at this point, I can review and send my email. So the first thing that I want to make sure of is that this is the actual email address that I want to show up that this email is from. Now this email is not going to be sent through my Gmail account. It's going to be sent through the Weebly Promote email system, but it will look like it came from this address. So certainly if this was real, I would be using at artofashtanga.com, something professional, or obviously anything that people know you as, any email address that somebody is going to recognize as you. So I can change the subject line, so we can see the subject that I put in, and then since it's not very long, there's a preview of what is inside the email. I actually really like this because they see, oh, this is about the schedule, and then they see like inside the email, yep, that's exactly what this is about. There are no tricks. I'm only sending it to 2 recipients. At this point, I could go back and manage, and we see that it popped me back up to the Add Recipients line here on the right. One thing to take a look at here as well is that I can click on these whenever I would like. I don't have to necessarily go in order. It's very easy and helpful to go in order, but I don't have to. So we'll go back to the review and send step. I'm good up here, and so now we can just take a look at the email. There's my logo. You can see a link to sign up today. What happens if I click on it? I'm taken to my primary series product that I created in a different webinar. Perfect. Now people can buy it. Maybe I want to put the pricing on here. So I can say, yeah, it's on sale for $15. So I want to change that. How do I do it? Well, I'll go back up to Design Email. Scroll down. So we'll say 5 off through Friday. Click Continue, go back to Review and Send, take a look. Yeah, so there we go. We've added a little bit more, done some editing. What happens if I click on View All Events? It takes them to my blog. Perfect. It's exactly what I want it to do. So I'm feeling pretty good. What about these? What are they? So this is what it's going to look like if somebody checks it out on their computer. But if you are like me, you only check email on your computer at work. The rest of the time you're on your phone. So it's really important to look at what this is going to look like on somebody's phone. So we can see these images just got smaller, but it still is a nice looking email, kind of. And some email providers are only going to show the text. They're not going to actually show everything about all the images and everything. Now, this is where something like we see my logo up here. So that's obviously what this is, but if I don't want it just to say my logo, how could I change that? So if we go back to design email, go to alt text, we see that here is where it says my logo. So what if we said art of Ashtanga logo or something like that? Continue, review and send, go back to the text one. There we go. So now it just doesn't say my logo, it says art of Ashtanga logo. So there's some benefit of the alt text right there. So I like the way that this is looking, and I'm pretty much ready to go. So what about this? We have two options here on the right if we don't choose to send it right now. I can send a test, so I can actually send it to myself. My test email has been sent. It might take a minute for this test email to come through. I don't have it yet, but as soon as I do, we'll take a look at it. I can also schedule this email to go out whenever I would like. So I do have to upgrade to do this, so we won't do that right now, but doing something like this, you could basically have a email blast that goes out every Monday. If you have the same schedule, and it's going to be kind of the same thing or just like general reminders, then you could just make the same email, copy it, and then you can schedule it to go out in advance. So you can schedule a month's worth of emails in one day, and then you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the month. So that's what you can do with the scheduling. And then once we're done, we click on Send Now. I'm about to send this email. Again, I'm reminded of our terms of service. I am not going to read through those during the webinar. I suggest that you do. And then we'll click on Send. My email has been sent. So immediately I see that there are a few things here. Share your email. So here's a link where my email is actually live on Promote. So if somebody who gets my email clicks on Show in Browser, this is what it'll look like. I can also share it on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, or just share the link. So here in my email, I already have received it, and I got my test, but we'll just show you the actual email. So here in my inbox, yogis and yoginis, check out our August Ashtanga schedule. And we'll open it up. Here's that view in browser link, so somebody can go and click on it and actually see the email in their browser rather than in the email client. And you go down, August events. So just like that, I have created an email, successfully sent it, and I have already received it. So somebody right now could be clicking sign up today, paying me money for my Ashtanga series class, checking out my events on my blog, and it's that easy to set this all up. So now we see we have this area that says sent. We can see the email that was sent. It was sent to 2 people. These stats, this data is always a little bit behind. I doubt that it will be updated by the end of the webinar, but it's never more than a few hours before we start to see who has clicked on it and who has opened it. Now, if I wanted from here, I can duplicate this. My email will be duplicated. After the email is copied, it'll be placed in my draft folder. Absolutely, I love this email, and I don't want to have to create the whole thing again. Here it is. So now we have a new draft. You can see it in my drafts here. I can rename the draft if I wanted. So second one, save it. I can go back to my insights. So I have one sent. We can already see that somebody has opened it, which was me. I haven't opened it in the other email account, but we see it's gone out to 2, and the open rate is 50%. We can see the sent emails again here, and I can go back and I can take a look at the specific stats of this. It was sent to these 2 email addresses. If I click on this, I can see who has opened it. So weeblyjustin@gmail.com opened it. Who has not opened it? Well, it would be the other one. Were any undelivered? No, both of them were delivered. We can see that here, which means that it's sitting in their inbox right now. Clicked, Weebly Justin has clicked, the other one has not. Has anyone unsubscribed? No, nobody has unsubscribed yet. Well, so what does that mean? Unsubscribed. So if I pull this email back in, we scroll down to the bottom, and here where we see this information that I put in, there's this unsubscribe link. And you cannot remove this. This will be on 100% of the emails that you send out with Promote. And this is a good thing. You have to, by whoever created the laws, decided that you have to give people an easy way to unsubscribe from you. So we do this automatically for you. So before I click that, let's close out of this and let's take a look at groups. So we see that we have one group here, this sample group. I haven't sent any emails to it because I do not know whose email addresses those are. We go to contacts, and I can see that I have 5 contacts now. I have these 3 contacts that were from that group that I uploaded from the sample CSV. And then I have these 2 contacts, which I added manually to the email as I was sending it out. So I want to keep these 2. I do not want these 3. So I can click them all and I can choose to just delete them. So now they're no longer in my contacts list. I don't have to worry about it. As far as this group, now there's no contacts in it, but I can keep the group around if I want. What can I do with it? So if I choose weeblyjustin@gmail.com, I can now add it to a group. I can add it to the existing group, and I could also add it to my own email addresses and click save. So we'll add it. We created a new group. I added this contact to both groups. Perfect. Status, if the status is blank, that's a good thing. It means they are still receiving your emails. You can delete the contact from here. And if I choose to unsubscribe, so I clicked the email in my, or the link in my email, unsubscribe from Art of Ashtanga Yoga, so I will no longer receive emails from Art of Ashtanga Yoga. Unsubscribed, and I've been unsubscribed. So if I now refresh this, let's go to groups, back to contacts, we see that this little button has changed to red. The red means that I have unsubscribed. So I could still go in, if I go to Mailbox, go to Drafts, go to my copied email, I go into Add Recipients, I see that it has been removed as an option to send to. I can still type it all out and add it like this. But if I actually were to send it, it wouldn't get delivered to this person. So we can see that here. So if we go back to, let's do Mailbox Sent, and we go to all, and we can look at who is unsubscribed based on this email. I can see that this email is the one that weeblyjustin@gmail.com unsubscribed from. So that'll give me some additional insight into maybe what it was about the email that they didn't like and why they unsubscribed and things like that. All right, so we are through the basics and some just a little bit above the basics for promote. Oops. One thing I want to mention real quick is this automated feature. So these are emails that can go out automatically when certain things happen on your Weebly site. So if we want to, I'm not going to be able to show you on this, but if you have a brand new contact for your contact form, you can have an automatic email that gets sent out to everybody who is a contact on your form. If you have a birthday list, you can have this email sent it out to them on their birthday. There's a lot of neat things that you can do in here, especially in the groups category with the automated emails. You can set up what are called smart groups, and smart groups will basically allow you to be very particular with who you send the emails to. And again, I'm not going to get deeper into that because I don't have an upgraded account here. But what I have shown you is the basics. It will get you started, and there's a lot more power behind Promote than what I've gone over with you here. So it's a really exciting tool. So the first question here is from Mary. So she says, I have two questions. I am having trouble resizing a picture for the lead capture template where you can have an image and the text to the left side. All right, so we'll start with compose, and we will go with general, and we will go with, I believe this is in the automated. I think she's talking about this. Is opt-in the one that you're talking about, Mary? This email template here. So this template, it basically asks them if they would like to subscribe to receive future emails from you. So if you have an existing list, you can use this template, send it out to them, and then they'll be opted in. She says this is not the one. All right, so we're going to create a new lead capture form. Give me one moment. So give me a second to see if I can get this upgraded really quick. Did you have a second question as well? All right, so she's using this, continue, and she's having trouble resizing this image. So I'm assuming that you're adding your own image, so I'll go ahead and change the image, and I'll put an image that I know is larger. Oops. Right, so I can't really see much of this image, so I want to And this is the problem that you're having, where you're not actually to resize this image so that you can see it. It's just you uploaded it and it's too big. Am I correct in that assumption? Okay, so that's the problem. So let's see here. Let me open up this picture. Oops. Let's go back here. Let's pull this down. Go here. All right, so the image is loading pretty big. If I click, so there's not a way for me to actually edit it in here. I could delete it and there's nothing. What I might have to do is just choose an image or crop this one so that it just works a little bit better. So if I'm just in a simple editing program on my laptop here, so I know that what I'm going to want to show is here on the left and the top left. So we'll crop this picture like that. Oops. And then crop it. Save it. And drag the photo in. And so that works a bit better. But I think that as far as this template goes, that's kind of what you're going to need to do, is manage the image before you upload it to this section, because clearly for this type of this aspect of promote, we are not giving you the ability to do the cropping and everything like that in here. We don't have the image editor built in. It's a great feature request, and certainly I will bring it up to the promote people, because I can understand how it would be a lot easier to be able to do that here. But from what I showed you, you can definitely manipulate the image before you upload it, and it'll work, should work a bit better. Mary, if you want to just put your, so when you're asking the questions, it's all private. If you want to put your email address in there, I can go ahead and email you a place where you can discuss this. It's kind of at this point a feature request, because it's just not something that exists. The only thing that I would suggest is what I did, which is cropping the image to make it work here. One of the reasons why it's blurry here is because the image is actually smaller. So if I had cropped it a little bit differently, I need to crop it even taller than that. So it's just something that we just have to play with to get right. But I can completely understand the desire to be able to do that kind of stuff inside of this editor, because having to go back and then change my changes to try to make it work better, I can understand how that's not the best of experiences with this. So it's a great request, no doubt about it. All right, so I've got your email. I'll save that, and I'll be in touch with you a little bit later today. So for those of you that are left, if you do have any other questions, please let me know. One thing that you can do is if you go to community.weebly.com, go down to the section about promote. Here we are going to find a huge resource, both of our users and our community managers, employees, product managers, employees of Weebly, who use promote who have worked on Promote and who have great tips, not just on using the software, but how to, and not just for building the email, but really how to use it to turn it into a real powerhouse for your business, for your brand, for whatever messaging you want to get out there. Because the fact is that you do not have to use, you do not have to have a Weebly website to use Promote. You can have your website anywhere, but the integration that we have in this is what makes this so powerful, to where somebody can buy a product from me, then their email shows up in my Promote, and I can send them an email later in the week saying, hey, here is something similar to what you bought. And I can do that for everybody who bought, that product. It's been proven that people who have already purchased from you are people that are going to come back and purchase again. So to be able to be in their vision, especially in the immediate week or two after they've bought, is really going to increase your revenue, because those repeat customers are going to be the majority of the business. So as far as questions, that's all that we have. I really appreciate you folks being with us today. I hope that this was very helpful and beneficial. Again, community.weebly.com. You go to Promote, and all sorts of great information here. You can also ask questions and get answers to anything that comes up as you continue to play with the software. So again, my name was Justin. It's been a pleasure being with you today. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and we will talk to you later.